Hello, this is Janet from coachforme.co.uk. Today I'm going to give you some really good hints on improving your grade in a written exam. Okay, one where you use words rather than numbers. So not for maths or physics or chemistry or something like that there, but where you're going to write something. And the technique I'm going to use today is to think of driving a car. Most of us know what a car is and know that if we want to get somewhere, our car has to be functioning. We need an engine, we need a body, and we need basically 4 tires that are working. So you just need to think about if you've got a flat tire, how far are you going to get? Not very far. So let's have a look at what our car looks like whenever we're prepping for our exams and what we need to remember in our exam. Okay, the first bit is the engine. This is your course material, your syllabus, the things you've been studying. It is absolutely essential that you do make reference and use the concepts, the ideas that you have been studying. That's what you're being examined on. If you just go along and you just use general knowledge type elements, you will do poorly in most written exams in there. So the example I've got here is something I do with my business studies people, and they've got 5 key areas. They have to know something from each of those 5 key areas. The body of the car, okay, this is showing that you know more than just facts, memory. It's not a memory game so much nowadays in exams. It's actually being able to apply what you've learnt, i.e. in the engine there, to situations. So make use of examples. Understand that you're being asked to maybe critique something and explain something. I've put some words up there that are very common exam words: compare, critique, interpret, etc. If you don't have a list of those and what they mean, go to my website. There's a free download there that will help you understand what those key doing words are, and you need to know those before you go into the exam. You can do all of this prep before the exam, so you'll do much better. Going to my 4 tires. The first thing that you must be able to do is to plan and structure what you write in the exam. This is a really, really important skill to develop. It's something that you do quite quickly at the beginning of answering a question. And your plan might be very linear in terms of a load of bullet points, a load of things that you want to talk about. It might be a mind map. It might be a fishbone analysis. It might be a force field diagram. Force field diagrams are very, very useful whenever you've got a compare and contrast situation. So it's really the fors and the againsts. Again, if you don't know what those are, either Google them or go to my website for some free examples. Next, you need to really concentrate on the question set. It's very, very easy to see a couple of words in a question and think, yeah, I can do that, but actually it's not what the question is asking. So do make sure you read the question, then do your plan, your structure, your plan for the answer, and then go back and reread the question to make sure you're addressing that question rather than some other, albeit interesting question, which is just too easy to happen in the exam. It happens to all of us at some point, so go back and check. Handwriting. Okay. I know my handwriting is pretty awful to start with. I also know by the time I get to 3 hours into an exam that it's pretty illegible. So I have developed certain techniques that I use to help me with that. I will use a lot of diagrams in my answers, and I will also leave spaces top and bottom of each line, so I can go back at the end and print in words, keywords, so the examiner has a chance of knowing what I'm talking about. Again here, if I've done a good plan to start with, they know the essence of what you want to talk about, so they've got a clue about what you're talking and the points that you're trying to make. So do think about your own situation and think of ideas about how you can make your handwriting more legible to the examiner who's reading it. They only have a very short time to actually read your script. So if they can't read it, they're not going to give you many marks. So think about that. Start practicing your handwriting now. If you're like me and use a keyboard a lot, you just aren't used to handwriting anymore. So practice that handwriting and try and get it as legible as it possibly can. It is better to have legible handwriting with fewer words than spiels where you can't read a word. My fourth final tire there is time management. Again, you work this out before you get into the exam. Yeah, you look and you see how much time have you got, how many questions have you got, how are the marks proportioned. You will almost always have an example exam question paper that you can look at to see how it's going to be structured. So you can work out your time. I personally like to have in a 3-hour exam, for example, about 15 minutes at the start for me to read the question, for me to calm myself if I'm a bit stressed up, and that can happen to anybody, and to work out which questions do I want to answer and in which order. Then I will go into actually answering my questions, and then I want at the end another 15 minutes so I can go back to deal with my illegible handwriting, and add in value to some of the other questions. So I can add a few diagrams or a point that I've remembered while I was writing a different answer. I can go and insert that in a particular piece of the script. But time management, you have to be absolutely rigorous with your time management. Make sure you've got your own watch or a clock with you so that you manage your time. Absolutely key, and down to the minute really. So don't allow yourself to go, I'll just go 5 minutes over on this question because I'm really good at this. It's not effective at getting you good scores. And last but not least, who's my seventh player in all of this? It's you, of course. You're the driver of the car. You're driving your exam. If you know all of these things and you have prepped beforehand, you'll go into the exam much more confident, and you'll deliver if you can just remember what your car looks like, what you've got to do, remember to do them, check you've done them, and the result will be about 10 to 20% better off than you normally would be. So good luck with your exam. Go look for some free resources at coachforme.co.uk.